Frothies preview time. Round 18's ahead of us, Barney boy. We've just got through all of round 17.
Did.
Out on the deck here, and just make sure YouTube's working. Welcome aboard if you're on YouTube. Hi there. We will get through the preview of round 18. It's a pretty interesting round ahead. Just in general, your thoughts? I feel like it's time some teams just start falling to bits, but they've all met each other at the right time to not fall to bits here. Apart from potentially the Dragons, but
there's some competitive games with teams sitting very close to each other on the ladder, so it's going to have a big bearing this weekend. On next week's ladder could look completely different.
It's a wacky draw
we've got at the moment.
But we're about to get Storm and Panthers this week, and who knows who's going to be playing by the time we get there. But anyway, we'll get to that. PCT Supercoach, you got anything to add? No, we'll just plough through. Let's kick off with the Sharks and the Dragons tomorrow night, 7:50 at Shark Park. And for the Sharks, they look pretty much as per program. No big surprises there. Dragons, welcome back. Just look through this. Jack Bird goes out. Moses Sully goes out, and Musgrove goes out. So we've got Faine, Moga, Lomax, Ravalawa in the back line, and Amone, Molo, Couchman, and Jaden Hunt the bench. The rest is what you'd expect. Ben Hunt's still employed right now as we speak. What are we doing with this game, Barn?
A couple of those blokes you mentioned didn't look real interested last weekend in the likes of Sully. I'm pretty sure Jack Bird had an injury, and that's probably why he's not in this week, because he was moving pretty badly towards the back end of the game last week. I'll be very surprised if the Sharks don't win this one quite handily. Ben Hunt's been the one that's been dragging them into games and winning them, a couple of them during the season. I'd be very surprised if he's going to be putting in anywhere near 100% effort into this game. I really don't understand why the Dragons are insistent on keeping him, to be honest. Bloke doesn't want to be there. I can't see it being anything that works well.
Well, it's a matter of pride, because if you let $1 million player go, well, why not let everyone go?
If you're going to you get half of it back, I would imagine.
I get more.
You get someone who's going to pay half of it plus
well,
the other
that's probably what they're waiting for.
So, yeah, until there's a firm offer on the table, I guess that's probably is, as you said, what they're waiting for.
Well, if you want to go to Titans, for example, if they got...
But if they say no, he doesn't have any option to negotiate anyway, so they can't get a firm offer on the table. So.
Unless he goes, unless Titans turn and go, we'll give you Toby Sexton and 700.
If they turned around and said, you've got permission to speak, but until we say so, you're here.
No. And actually, I never thought of it, but that is why there's so much free press around permission to negotiate, because you're not supposed to. They come out and say, we're happy for Luke Brooks to look around. Well, that's why it is, yeah.
Absolutely. Which was I expected that to come out of the meeting on Monday, to be honest. Basically, permission
I suggest
to
that's
negotiate.
What he asked for.
They haven't given it to him, so don't be surprised if you see him injured or ill in the next month or two and missing games towards the back end of this season.
Mental health is coming.
Quite possibly. But, I think the Sharks win and win well. They've again, off the bye, they were quite good in the forward pack in their last offering, and if their pack is quite good against this one, I think they demolish the Dragons' forward pack. And we've seen what they can do if they're well and truly on the front foot. I expect the points to come thick and fast at different periods of this game. Probably not for the entire 80, but there'll be spurts of 20 minutes where they put on some... I would expect the Sharks to put on points. Sharks 13+, man of the match, Nico Hines. He's been a bit up and down for the last few weeks, but I think he should be settled by now and back into the rhythm of things. And I'm going to go with the freshly re-signed Teague Wilton, the first try scorer on the left edge for the Sharks.
Are you, Supercoach-wise, are you just straight stamping the big C on Nico?
Not on a Thursday night. It'll be a vice captain
no,
with a loop option.
He hasn't a particular month either.
Exactly. I expect him to score quite high in Supercoach, but generally never captain anyone straight out in the first week unless they've been completely on fire for a month, and it usually backfires. So,
yeah, as has happened the last few weeks for you Nico fans out there. Yeah, well, this is pretty obvious. If Sharks execute well, which I expect them to do because they're going to have enough time and space and slow fucking line speed and everything else going on, that they can do what they want here and they will put points on. It might take a while, might take 25 minutes, same as last week.
Yep.
Sharks 13 plus, first try scorer, Mulatalo. Man of the match is probably going to be Nico, let's be honest, if we're going to tip on the fact of who we're going to give 3-2. Yeah, don't have much more to X. Poor old Dragons. Only hope of avoiding the spoons is if the Tigers are worse.
Pretty much.
Cracker, game of the round, allegedly. Warriors at home against the Bunnies, who will slip out of the 8 if they lose this. Let me go back here. Give me 1 second here, punters. Let me get my NRL teams because that would be much better than trying to read it off this website. They are Nick Corey's out again, suspended after everything I said in that last show. Jackson Ford, Josh Curran, Tohu Harris is the new back row. Mitch Barnett comes back in. Siren and Ale is the bench. Host and Cartwright out for Souths, which means their back row looks like Sele starting at prop, Colin Matangi, Chikam, Murray, Havili, Shakai Mitchell, Davey Moali, and Tom Burgess all make up the bench, which isn't a bad bench, but they're still missing Latrell and a couple of others. What do you do here, Barn?
I'm going to back on form. And on form, I can't go anywhere near South Sydney. I do expect a bounce back factor. I expect them to be much better than what they were last week and be quite competitive during this game, which has led me to tip the Warriors 1-12. Warriors at home, Warriors in red hot form. Could all come tumbling down and could be a Cody Walker show, who I captained in Supercoach last week and got me a massive 40-something points, I think. So
Wow.
that was a good option. But yeah, South Sydney on the bounce back should be much more competitive, but I really think that the Warriors do what they've done for the majority of the year, own the middle of the field for the majority of the game, and on the back of that, especially if they're getting fast play the balls and field positions, the likes of Sean Johnson, Metcalf's been improving week on week. Charles has had a couple of really nice games where he's been combining with those two. And I'm going to think you're going to see some points out wide for the Warriors to get them home. 1-12, man of the match, Sean Johnson. And first try scorer, I'm going to go to the left this time with Marcelo Montoya to score the first try for the Warriors.
Home's always a key for the Warriors. That's where they are. And I love what they've done the last month. I think they're red hot. I think they're the form team in the competition. Rabbitohs are struggling to win at the same time. They're going to get bossed here in this forward, but this forward pack couldn't handle the Cowboys last week. What are they going to do here against the Warriors? They're going to get bossed. Sean Johnson will have his way with them. I am going to go with... I'm going to stick with Dallin. First try.
Yep.
You're probably going to get about $4 these days, but I think he'll score out wide to start the rot, and I think it sets in after that. I think they're going to be deers in the headlights by the end of this game, and I have grave concerns to where they go from here. The Reaper has struck. Man of the match, Sean Johnson, and 13 plus. Yeah, I've said it all.
Yep.
That's what I need to say. The Storm and Panthers at Marvel. What a cracking Friday night this is, actually.
What are the ins and outs? Because I think they're going to be crucial to the way this plays out.
I was thinking going to the pub, but I'm starting to think I might just stay home and watch it at home, to be honest with you. At Marvel Stadium, we've got Kamakamika named to come back in and start. Penne is on the reserves despite suffering an injury last time out. Currently, their bench is Garlic, McDonald, Kamakamika, and Bradley. But I assume Penne... no, Penne's out. Sorry. Let me reread that. No Penne and Kamika in. Garlic, McDonald, Bradley is the bench. King, Solomona, Loureiro, Walsh, and Sims is starting at prop. For Penrith, they're all in. Dylan Edwards is back. Tango's back. Crichton's back. Tuo's back. Luai's back. Cogger's still a 7. Leota's back. Sorensen, Martin's back. They're all starting. Sonny Luke is on the bench. Lindsay Smith is on the bench. Spencer Linnu's on the bench, as is Jamin Salmon. No Hosking, Eisenhuth, Garner, Peachy, or Jenkins. What are you doing?
It's going to be a very tough game to tip. I'm expecting the Penrith will probably be better in the middle of the field for a little bit longer than this Storm side, but I think they'll hold their own and go close enough. Penrith cause a few problems out wide. But the thing for me is the spine, and I just think I know Edwards has been in fantastic form. Yo, fantastic player. Luai, questionable at times, and Cogger's we've only really seen a kicking game out of him at the moment when you compare that to the likes of Jerome Hughes, whose kicking game's been on fire recently, Munster, who's been running the ball at every opportunity, whether it be Origin or against Cronulla or against whoever else he played just before the last Origin. And he's been tormenting teams with his running game. So I think the halves get the Storm home in this game. Even if they are on the back foot for part of it, I think Hughes and Munster just unlock Penrith more times than they're able to unlock the Storm defensive side. So I'm going to go with the Storm 1-12. I think Cameron Munster's going to be pivotal to that with his running game and be someone that's going to target the likes of Luai and Cogger on the edges and possibly beat them one-on-one to score points or set up points outside them. And I'm going to be boring and go with the right-hand winger with Warbrick to score the first try for the Melbourne Storm side.
Yeah, I'm going to zig when I should have zagged here, but I'm going to tip Penrith. and I already have buyer's regret here, but I'm going to go Penrith 1-12 just because they are winning games they shouldn't necessarily be winning.
Yep.
I think that the outside backs are doing a lot of work here and be the key to this game, and it'll set up for their forwards to do the job they've done for 4 years and get the job done. That said, we both know exactly how this game we won and lost. If it goes the other way, we know why. And it's a big game for Jerome Luai because we know Cogger's going to be the machine in the cogger in the machine, and it's up to Luai to find the points on top of it. And I don't think, and I didn't say this in a review, I don't think ever since the game 1 of Origin when Edwards was the saviour of New South Wales, I don't think he's been
hasn't been at his best. No,
at his best
definitely
at all.
Not.
So he's got a point to prove here. But I'm going to go Penrith 1-12. I'm going to go man of the match. I think I'm going to go with Fisher Harris. I'm going to say he puts a stamp on this game. He hasn't quite done it. He did this week a little bit, but he hasn't quite done it yet. First try scorer Tango, who was fantastic last week. And I wouldn't be shocked if Tyrone Peachy comes onto this bench in front of a Salmon or a Luke.
Okay.
Big game, because if Melbourne win this, they stamp themselves and then you springboard the This is a springboard game for both teams here.
Absolutely.
It springboards Penrith towards a minor premiership. It springboards Storm towards top 4.
Great top 4.
Yeah. 3 o'clock on Saturday, we've got the Raiders and the Titans at GIO. Jared Croker's been selected, but needs to be cleared by the NRL with his head knock. Saulo is going to start in front of Papa Ihi. For the Titans, Tino's back, and Kieran Foran and is still there. Yeah, sorry. Some weird-ass notes on the NRL.com. Everything else is what you'd expect from both teams. Just a quick whip through. Yeah, it's what you expect. 1-17 from last week with Tino back in for them. Very interesting game, Barn. This is, again, another springboard game.
Yeah, I think I've just got a feeling that the Titans, they've had a bit more grit about them the last couple of weeks before the coach was sacked, and again this week against the Broncos. I think they may be able to control this Canberra pack, even with Horsburgh raging through the middle. I'm pretty sure Papali'i's gone back to the bench because he seemed quite ginger at the back end of the game last week. I'm pretty sure he's
No, he's not playing. He's gone.
An injury. Oh, he's gone.
He's out for about a month.
Tapane, while fantastic, has not been near his best. So they're going to need every one of their forwards to be close to their best to be able to control the middle of the field, and I'm not sure that's going to happen in this match. I think Tino fresh, back off a week off. Mo's been tremendous for the last month. Throw in Fafita, doing Fafita things where he busting tackles, scoring tries and setting up points out wide. Might only happen for 20 minutes, but if it happens twice in 20 minutes, it can get you home. I really think AJ is going to have a big part to play in this game. I think AJ Brimson, again, I think he had a bit of Caxtonitis last week as well, which may have led to a game where he wasn't at his best. But back now in the fold and the talking points of Origin, he's going to have a point to prove, and I think he's going to probably end up as the man of the match for the Titans in this game with a 1-12 win. And I'm going to go with David Fafita, first try scorer, something similar to what you saw with the Kieran Foran's short ball and the barge over close to the line. It could go the other way. I just think the Raiders have been redlining for probably 6 to 8 weeks now, where they've been getting through, winning games, winning ugly, and it's going to take its toll eventually. And I think this week might be the week that they fall short of the 2 points.
Sorry, Mark Nicholas is currently wearing the most see-through shirt he could possibly wear without it being made of cotton. So, made of what's it called? Anyway, it's pretty see-through. We'll move on.
Fishnet stocking.
Fishnet stocking. That's the word I was thinking of. This is interesting because I, for the record, I have doubted Canberra enough.
Yes.
That I want to tip them, but I'm going to go with you because I've been waiting for crack. They keep winning, and I think with Puppy out, I think fresh Chino for feeder.
They did have a crack 2 weeks ago, but where they sort of got pulled apart a little bit. But yeah, I can see it happening again.
But I'm going to go with the Titans 1-12. I could well change in the PCTC app.
Yep.
Before kick-off, Titans 1-12. All the reasons you've said. I think the red line's coming, but maybe it's not there. Maybe they're just going to keep winning. And if it is, we all know exactly why. Again, if it's not going to happen, it's going to be Fogarty's kicking game. It's going to be the Rappaners and Hopewhite of the world making heaps of meters and putting pressure back on them. But I'm going to exactly. But I'm going to go with Khan Pereira, first try scorer. I'm going to go with man of the match, Tina Fasuma Ali, and I'm going to go 1-12 because I think fresh Tino here, in addition to what they achieved last week, will be very, very good. Cowboys, the Tigers head up to Queensland Countryback Stadium at 5:30. No Tamalolo, he's out again, and Reece Robson is named, but he has need to be cleared from his hamstring injury. For the Tigers, Dane Laurie is starting at 6 in his probably last crack at NRL level this time in. Brett Naden and Stafford Toa the centres. The rest is what you expect from Talon De Silva. Keeps his bench spot. No Tommy Talau. Kapoa is 17. And no other big outs for the Cowboys. This could be, and I hate to say it, this could be the biggest. I think the biggest ever swing was 140 points or something, but Tigers put 60 on them last time. Cowboys could put 60 here, and I don't feel comfortable about it. I don't think they will because we are in your little Lambourne Pearl book. Tigers do have a good record against Cowboys, but
very,
I think
very
it's
good
going to be
against the Cowboys.
I'm going to go Cowboys 1-12. I think this will be a heartbreak game for me, where I think we're going to be all right for a long time, and then it falls apart at the end. Man of the match, Drinkwater again, because he'll come up with some magic in the back end just to really put the knife in. First try scorer, though, I'm going to go with Brent Naden. I think it will be... We'll start hot. I think we'll start hot and see how we go. But I have zero confidence in our halves combination now. So, 13 plus wouldn't surprise.
For me, that's exactly where I've gone with the Cowboys. I just think the dressing room chatter's got to be off a little bit, doesn't it? Surely there's got to be a few blokes annoyed with Brooks moving on, and he's still got a position in the team. There's going to be, there's got to be something going on there. Dane Laurie, as you mentioned, is probably on his last foray into first grade, unless he pulls something out of the backpack and puts something together here for the Tigers. I'd be very surprised if you don't get beaten by 4 or 5 tries, to be honest.
I can see 50 coming here.
Cowboys have been the best they've been all year in the previous 3 to 4 weeks, and they seem to be getting, if not clinically better, they're just getting tougher and building that
as you
resolve.
said, Cowboys are an energy team, and now they've got the energy back. And when they roll and roll and roll, the energy grows, and they become scary, and I'm scared.
Yeah, they're getting that resolve in defence. They're starting to hit in defence. They're starting to really loosen up with their attack. It's not so much as structured as it was at the start of the year. Drinkwater's getting involved, as you mentioned in the review. Val Holmes could have a field day out there if he's at his best against the defence out wide for the Tigers. I'm going with the Cowboys 13 plus. I'm going man of the match, Drinkwater. He's been everything about their attack recently, so why long that continue, and I'm going to go with Tuolangi, first try scorer for the Cowboys.
Broncos, 7:30, host the Dolphins at the Gabba, of all places. just near where we stayed there at Magic Round.
Wollongabba.
They lose Ricky and Flegler. Their back row is now Piacora and Willison. Tyson Smoothie, Jensen, Hetherington, Tapau is the bench. And the Dolphins are what you'd expect as per program. Sean O'Sullivan, not as per program. Sean O'Sullivan's back. Remember him?
Played
He's
last
back.
week, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he played last week.
It was late in. Sorry, he was. Kataris O'Sullivan. No, Nicarima is 17th. Josh Coyer comes into the team as well. I suspect Brisbane might be flatlining, but they meet the ultimate flatlining team here, and they meet him at the right time, and I think they're going to win this game. I think this could be the bludger of the round. This might not be a pretty game, but I think they get home. I would hope. Well, the Gab is interesting with all the angles and points as I slap a Staffy. I think Reynolds, in a weird-ass ground, will still find a way to kick to the corners and control this game and get them back on top and give him man of the match. Going to first try scorer Herbie for, as you said, he's ripping and ready to go, and I think this game he does it. But no result in this game would shock me.
No, same here. Broncos last couple of weeks have been far below where they were previously. I was ready to tip them 13+ just because of how flat the Dolphins have been and how uncompetitive they've been for parts of probably half a game recently for the last 3 or 4 games. But I decided to go with the Broncos 1-12. I think might be a bit of back and forth early in this game for half an hour, 40 minutes. I'm actually going to go with Hamiso to score the first try for the Dolphins. I think they may be on top for maybe the first 10 or 15 minutes, and then you see the Broncos kick in and really take over in the middle of the field and then start to dominate later towards the back end of the game. I'm going to go with Herbie as man of the match, to be honest.
Yep.
If he can, as I mentioned in the review show, if he can be putting out his 200+ running meters and then you add a try or two to that, and he doesn't miss many tackles out there as well, not many times they're going to be looking for a man of the match out of the centres, but I think if he can add a try or two to what he's been putting out with his recent output, it could go a long way to being man of the match.
We kick off on Sunday afternoon with the Bulldogs and the Knights at Accor Stadium at 2 p.m. What a game. Everyone just meets everyone at the weirdest time this round. Harrison Edwards is back. That's nice. And Raymond Fatala Mariner is potentially back. He's named on the bench. So that's a good, an extended bench, but they expect him to play should it all being well. Which means a Pele or a Tapane would drop out. The Knights, as per program, and Lachlan Figgins back. Sorry, he missed last week, and they need him. This is what in the fuck are we doing this, man?
I think the Knights will be stronger in the middle of the field, which will give them a bit more time and space with the ball. You get Ponga on the back of on the back of some quick play the balls and some, as I said, there's been an issue getting the ball out wide to some of these outside backs, but if they can get the roll through the middle, I think that's it's not as noticeable as being able to get it out there. And once it gets out to Ponga, the likes of Gagai and Young and Marzu on the edges have been, very good one-on-one against opposition. Yeah. So as long as they can get the ball out there, I think that the Knights win. If they do it early, they'll probably win well, but I think the Dogs will hang around and be a nuisance for probably 40 to 50 minutes of this game, and the Knights will get it done at the back end. So I'm going to go Newcastle 1-12. Ponga, man of the match. He'll probably provide 2 or 3 try assists, and I'm going to go Marzu as the first try scorer.
Khaled Rajab is starting at 6'2", so if Olukawapu out. So interesting to see him. He's another one. I wouldn't be offended if Tigers went after him. Now, everything in me is screaming to tip the Bulldogs.
Yep.
And the reason I'm not going to is because last time they did, when I tipped against the Roosters and they should have won, they didn't. And I feel like they won't again. They'll find a way to lose this game. But I think, and the reason being is that I think they are trying their ass off.
Absolutely.
They are performing to the best of their capabilities.
Can remember
they are getting everything out of who they have there. They're just not a first-grade squad. With injuries and everything, but Max King starting, they're starting to get some middles back there. A win wouldn't surprise me. I'll see I'm going for the rest of the round whether I need to change my tip. But for the record, I'm going to tip Knights 1-12 for everything you've said, that their outside backs have more strike. We know Alamota can miss tackles. We know there's issues there. We know once Ponga gets involved, there should, in theory, be points. I'm going to man of the match, Kalen Ponga, for that very reason. And I'm going to go first try scorer, Dom Young, because that's what you do.
That's what you do.
4 o'clock, the Seagulls and the Roosters. Again, what in the hell do we do with this? But Jake's back. Gerbo's back to start. Sabra's back. Jason Saab's on the wing. Kelma Tuolangi's back. And Ben Travojevic and Brad Parker all back. All 5 come into the squad. And Parker and Saab apparently in some doubt, but the rest are all named to play. For the Roosters, Swahili's back on. He's going to be in the wing. They're not trying to crowbar him anywhere he shouldn't be. Manu Smith, Tupou is the back line. Luke Keary, Sanders Smith remain the halves. Turpin remains a 7. And they welcome back. Oh, there's a doubt around Jake Turpin, who is going to be covered by Drew Hutchinson as usual. And on the extended bench, we see big puppy Dylan Napper might come into this team.
Oh, wow.
Again, how do you tip either team here?
It's very difficult.
Let me think about this. Do you have anything to add? I'm actually going to tip the Roosters. I'm just going to go and gut feel that at some point star power has to count, despite my vow that I would never tip them again this season. I'm going to go first try scorer Swahili. I just think now you look at it, outside back strike against what they're Manly have produced lately, may well count. I am seriously concerned about their forward pack. But for the record, I didn't mention Victor Radley starting in the back row. White, other back row, Nathan Brown
13.
at 13. And I think that's not a bad thing. I think Nathan Brown will be very good. I'm going to go Radley first try scorer running off Nathan Brown. And I'm going to go man of the match. I've bagged him, so James Tedesco. Now I had a whole soliloquy about him. He'll come out and tear him apart.
I'm going with Manly. As I said, I can't tip either of these teams. I think it's going to be DCE's kicking boot that'll generally let Manly camp down the Roosters' end for large parts. And for a big part of this year, the Roosters have shown an inefficiency of being able to get off their own defensive line and get out. Truck it upfield that 50 and 60 metres to turn the field position battle. So
actually,
I think if
DCE, with their forward outs, I'm now
DCE gets on the front foot and Turpin is out, I think would be a big out that softens up their defence in the middle of the field as well. But yeah, I really think DCE is going to go out of his way to kick early, camp Manly down on the Roosters' defensive line, and wouldn't be surprised to see them try to get Garrick a lot more involved in attack than what they did last week, which they didn't have a lot of ball, to be fair, towards the back end of the game last week. So I'm going to go Manly 1-12, DCE man of the match, and I'm going to go Garrick first try scorer.
This has to be something from Schuster. If he shows nothing in this game, bruh.
Mate, there's a $2.5 million contract on the table.
I wish
apparently.
I got paid $800K a year for doing nothing. Pretty good at it. Actually, I'm having buyer's regret, so fuck it, I'm changing. GT, can you change it to Manly? Because this forward pack's awful the more I look at it. Awful. Anyway, what else we got here?
Frothing. That's the end of the round.
Oh, you don't have a bet? You don't have a second to have a look at a bet?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, just reading some late mail suggestion that Hammer's going to play centre this week with Nicarima playing fullback and O'Sullivan coming back in. So that's going to be interesting.
Okay.
I don't disagree with it. Cool.
No, Nicarima's been pretty good.
We need to talk about some bets, Barn. I believe I did fuck all, but what did the disaster class say last week?
I managed to get the Raiders and the Cowboys in a head-to-head bet. Had got $7. I get $7.30, and I had $10 on that. So I'm now minus $399.50 for the season. Yourself is minus $510 for the season.
Heaps good. Very interesting times out of the commission about betting and online gambling and stuff in Sydney that free bets will be abolished in the next 3 years. So that's going to sort the wheat from the chaff. I Don't
getting
disagree
rid of
with it.
a lot of that stuff recently.
And no, in with the next 3 years, we'll see no more annoying fucking sports bet ads during footy. But
Yeah.
as a long-time gambler and someone who does punt every
So
Saturday,
all bonus
I
bets,
welcome
all
all
that
of them.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, you go and
Yeah.
bet and Betfair and be a real man.
Yeah.
Is what I say. But anyway, we are going to have to bet this week, and I'm going to throw all my monies on the Warriors, all up Manly.
Yep.
Getting about $3.50 head to head, and I just need something to get me back on track. What are you thinking?
Nice. I've gone with the Warriors as well, but I've chucked in the Storm. Both
$1.70 is a great price for the Road. I think it's a
I've-
great price if you're interested.
I went
in
and
sports
bumped
betting.
them up for $3 something, because I've gone both of them 1 to 12.
Oh, cool.
So I think, as I mentioned, Warriors and Storm both to win 1 to 12, get you $9.10. Going to have $40 on that. And I'm going to go with my tip in the Sharks game is Teague Wilton, first try scorer,
Yep.
freshly re-signed, $14. I have $10 on that.
Beautiful. What's got you frothing this week?
It was the bounce back for mine. To see the teams Manly, Souths and Brisbane this week and see how they return from games that they all lost. 2 of them lost quite handily, and Brisbane lost a game that they really would never have thought that they were going to lose, and probably did it in pretty poor fashion at the back end of the game too. So really looking forward to those 3 teams and how they come back this week after poor showings last week. It's going to mean a lot in the next. This game will have a bearing on the comp for the next couple of weeks. So
My big black text has got me frothing because I
All
reckon
right.
after this round I can pen most of these teams. But in all fairness, Friday night should be a great night of football. We're going to learn so much. If Souths are gone, they're gone.
yeah.
And what comes out of Storm and Penrith could be minor premiership
The fact that
material.
just about everybody's playing somebody within a couple of positions
Well,
of the
it's
ladder
all
of each
you
other,
can't. That's
except the Sharks, Dragons.
the fact
obviously.
it's all on the line here is interesting. And when half of these are bludgers or a few get beat by 40, I can pen them and we can all move on, and I can actually have clarity about what's going to happen at the back end of the season.
And it'll all change the week after.
Oh, of course it will, but that's what we do, and it's what we do each and every week, and that's why I preview this for Footy and Frothies. That's why you should go and do Rugby League merch and buy some hats and beanies and T-shirts and everything else and support us.